Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. My name is Joseph Sangle. I'm fired up to help you every single week with some practical, right now relevant information to help you in your financial journey. So you, yes you, not the person sitting next to you, or unless it's your spouse, but also including the
and
one
them
sitting
too,
next to you.
yes.
Yes, they're allowed to. Everyone who listens to this to become a fully funded person to live a fully funded life. This is episode number...
Oh, did you knock our decorations over?
What is your name and what episode number is this? Who are you?
All right, this is episode 182.
And your name is?
I am your co-host, Megan.
That's your name. Her name is co-host.
Megan Hibbard.
Megan Hibbard. First name co, second name host. This is December 27th, the last podcast episode of this year.
I'm not ready to give up Christmas, so we still have our decorations.
What year did we start this podcast?
2018.
So this is the completion of 4 years
Right?
of us sitting down and having conversations to help people with their money. Is that amazing?
That is amazing.
4 years. We just completed 4 years. That is amazing. If you think that's amazing and you're watching on YouTube, comment below whether or not you think that's amazing. But anyhow, we are going to talk about something that is, I think, going to be helpful as we end the year and start a new one. What is that we're going to talk about?
Yes. So we are titling this episode, Level of Expectation Determines Level of Preparation. You may have heard that saying before. But our question is, it seems like we're constantly stuck. We begin to make financial progress, but then we have a financial challenge that seems to set us back to a place even worse than where we started. Any words of wisdom would be helpful.
Awesome. We're going to do our best. It's going to be great. But before we talk about that, we're going to go to one of my favorite sections of the podcast. You know what time that is. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
The Monday Money Tip Podcast is sponsored by the Fully Funded Life Membership Program. The Fully Funded Life Membership Program provides all you need to begin winning with money and live a fully funded life. Fully Funded Life includes 4 key components: courses, challenges, coaching, and community. Courses provide financial education. Challenges help you make massive progress in a specific money skill. Coaching is provided by the Fully Funded Life Certified Coaches through open office hours held multiple times each month. All of the courses, challenges, and coaching results in an outstanding community that help equip, motivate, and encourage you to take your next financial steps toward your fully funded life. Fully Funded Life. Courses, challenges, coaching, community. All that's missing is you. Learn more and receive a special offer for Monday Money Tip listeners today at fullyfunded.life/MMT. That's www.fullyfunded.life/MMT.
For today's current money and events section, we're talking about the end of a year.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro more days. Cuatro días. We have 4 more days left this year. If you include today, well, then it's 5 days. But you have 4 days after this. So here's what I want you to know. You can still accomplish some major financial goals in this year. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yes is the answer around this podcast. So you could, yes, give to a charitable organization by December 31st, 2021 at midnight, and you could potentially deduct it from your taxes if you itemize. Of course, only 12% of people itemize these days,
Womp womp.
but that'd be really good. And you could give and help a worthwhile cause by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, awesome. Not want.
Not want about
that
the
you can't
itemize anymore. Yeah.
But you get a bigger deduction.
That's
Great.
true. That's true.
Number 2 thing you could do that I thought of is you could contribute to your retirement account up to the maximum. Of course, you can do that all the way up to tax day in 2022 for the tax year 2021. But that's a great thing that you could do as well. Hey,
That always seems weird to
you
me.
contributed to your retirement account enough to get the match? You still have time. Get it done in these 4 days. Another thing you could do is review your 2021 goals. When is the last time you did review your 2021 goals? Was it when you wrote them down at the end of 2020?
Hopefully you have 2021 goals.
And of course, as you review those 2021 goals, you could set some 2022 goals. Look at how helpful I'm being. Isn't this awesome?
So helpful.
This is some current money events. Okay. All right. So another thing you could do is have important conversations. You could have financial conversations. You could have other type of important conversations, such as, Do we want to add to our family this year? Megan and Jordan are adding to their family. They're getting double trouble. They're having some twins.
Double trouble for
Are you
sure.
going to tell everybody what you're having yet? Or is that going to be something you're going to reveal when you have the babies? Some breaking news? Yes?
Maybe
No?
in January.
Maybe in January. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, look at that. You can be listening. Maybe we could show the answer on YouTube, and the only way they can know is if they go to YouTube.
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh.
We shall do that.
Stay tuned. Okay, and you could also have other type of important conversations that are non-financial, such as this 30-year-old child of ours needs to get out of the house. That could be an important conversation. I don't have a 30-year-old child living in my house. Don't plan to either. But here's other important conversations that you could have. You could have conversations about the will. You could have conversations about how much you want to contribute to a retirement account. You could have a conversation about whether or not you want to up the amount you're contributing to your kid's college fund or start a college fund. You could talk about having an alternative type of investment, maybe starting to explore real estate or precious metals or a small business. You can have those important conversations in the next 4 days. There's 4 days until 2022. It's crazy to talk about, but you know what? It's limited in what you could do in a day. It's amazing what you can do in a year, but you have to take advantage of every day so you could say it was amazing what you did in a year. 4 days. Let's go. That's it for today's current money events section.
Yep. All right. Our success story today comes from Laura, who heard Joe at her church last month. And she said, "We doubled our giving right away. I asked my daughter to watch the message online last week, and she loved it. In fact, she was out of her 9-year-old daughter.
Out with
Oh, sorry.
her 9-year-old.
She was out with, I'll flip in pages.
Can you run out of a child?
It's hard to read when you flip a page. She was out with her 9-year-old daughter, picking up her new glasses a few days later. They went into the Disney store and noticed the checker had a giant crack in her glasses. And they were taped back together. She inquired, sorry, this story is very interesting. She inquired what had happened, and the girl explained that they had broke, but she had 4 kids and it was Christmas time and she only works part-time and couldn't get them fixed. My daughter had been to the bank earlier that day and cashed her paycheck and felt God calling her to give the money to this busy mom. She reached in her wallet and explained she had just listened to a compelling message about intentional giving and wanted to bless her with $100. The gal was speechless and then started to cry and thanked my daughter. Of course, my daughter felt the results of her blessing deep inside, and my granddaughter also witnessed what the seed of gratitude can do.
Ooh. How awesome is that?
That is awesome.
I actually responded personally to this story. That's unbelievable. I always say what we do is we just plant seeds. We can't make them grow. We share what we believe to be excellent financial principles with compelling stories like this one. Does this not? Mm-hmm. And it's the fact that we planted a seed, but it started to grow because it was in fertile soil. They received the message in such a way that this lady shared it with her daughter. And then they were out, the daughter and the granddaughter, 2 people who had not even been in the place where I shared originally. Someone else had transported that message to them. And they're in a store and they have an opportunity to live out that very thing that was being taught. And they responded to it. And so it's generational now at this point. 2 generations beyond the grandparent. And for me, that fires me up because, $100 was a huge gift for the daughter to give. The granddaughter, that daughter's daughter, watched her give it. But now look at what it did. It allowed somebody to get their glasses fixed.
Yeah.
And if you've ever had glasses that broke that you could not pay for, you cannot go to an eye doctor and get glasses done cheaply.
Yeah.
And having taped together glasses is horrible. And so I think it's unbelievable. And every day that person looks through those glasses and they pull them off at night to go to sleep.
And they don't break.
And they don't break.
Yeah.
They don't have to redo the tape. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
So I just really, really encourage people, we're planting seeds. Every podcast episode is a seed. We really hope and pray that it's helping it grow. So as we always say, our podcast is powered by your success. And so we can talk the rest of the way because we have been fully fueled up. Let's go.
Yep. Okay, so our question today is, it seems like we're constantly stuck. We begin to make financial progress, but then we have a financial challenge that seems to set us back to a place even worse than where we started. Any words of wisdom would be helpful.
So, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, stuck. Stuck is a very powerful word, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I recently got stuck.
Got stuck where?
On my new farm. Have you ever been stuck? Like with a vehicle, gotten stuck? In the snow, in a ditch, in a muddy hole?
I'm trying to think.
If you have, you haven't, because you would immediately know it.
No.
So I'm driving with my son, and I have I hope people don't have envy or jealousy in their heart after I share this, but I have a 1997 GMC 1500 with the world's worst underpowered 2.6 V8, a V6 engine in it. It's horrible. It's two-wheel drive, and I'm driving on this new farm, and there's several, they must be springs, natural springs in them, because it hadn't rained for a while, and those areas are moist. This area was really moist, more than I thought. And before I knew it, I had sunk to the hubs. And there's a problem. This is an hour from my house, and I had my young son with me, who's 11. And he's like big-eyed, like, what are we doing? And I'm quickly like, and I was stuck, and I just kept getting more stuck. And I would rock the vehicle back and forth, put it in drive a little bit, put it in reverse, go back and forth, starting to rock it and trying to get out of it. I could not. I was just pushing mud and more mud. It was horrible. Finally, I let him get behind the wheel, which is alarming. And I'm standing in the back trying to shove it. Well, he just completely covered me with mud. I was
about to say,
I mean, he spun mud. I took a picture of it. Maybe we can put the picture in the podcast. I mean, I am covered. Shellacked is the word with mud.
Shellacked.
It was so bad that I couldn't be mad. I just kind of laughed hysterically. But I was stuck. And let me tell you a lesson I learned about being stuck. It's no fun being stuck.
It's true.
No fun. In fact, eventually I didn't have a shovel with me. I didn't have anything. So I made a shovel out of some sticks and started shoveling mud out of the way, flinging it, and got it to where I could use gravity a little bit to push ourselves out of this thing. And we got out, thank the Lord. But it was like 45 minutes of disaster. Okay? So I wanted to use that because that word picture of being stuck, they use the word stuck. That is not a good feeling. Stuck means can't make progress, can't move really, paralyzed. And so I have some words of wisdom that I think would be helpful. And I want to start by just sharing another story. And it's a story of my daughter's messy room. You know, my oldest daughter, inherited my messy-itis, but at another level. I don't know if your son, is he a neat freak, or do you think he's going to be messy?
I think he's going to be neat.
Okay.
He likes to line his tractors up
There
in a
you
row.
go. That's all you need to know. If they line their cars up, they're going to be neat.
Yeah.
My daughter never did that. She's an artist. She's naturally an artist. She's wired up. She's fired up, but she is messy. And when her idea of changing outfits is take this one off and fling it as far as it can go. Doesn't matter if it hangs up on something or lays on the floor. Let's get the next one. And she pulls them in a way that the hangers would spring up. I mean, it was just a constant disaster. And I would come home every day as this daughter grew up and moved into preteen and early teen years. And I would come home to my wife, who sees clean at a level I just cannot see it. She is a neat freak. She should be a professional organizer. It is unbelievable. If something sits on the counter for longer than 3.1 milliseconds, she deems it as obsolete and it is gone. It's over. Yeah, it's no chance of living. It's going in the trash. It's getting organized. It's gone.
I need her to come to my house.
Okay, it's unbelievable. Like stuff just stacks up where I'm at. I view flat spots as a place to accumulate stuff. She views them as things that you could just keep empty. And so it's a very healthy thing for me to have her around the house clean things up. But I would come home just routinely to a bride who was just fried and just angry at this daughter who's messy. And she would tell the daughter, clean up your room, clean up your room, clean up your room, clean up your room. And then it would be yelling, clean up your room, clean up your room, clean up your room. I know no one who's listening has ever had this happen. And for me, I come home as the husband, as the father, and I want to do one thing, and that is fix this problem. But I have frustrated, angry bride frustrated, angry daughter because eventually my wife would have an outburst. And while the daughter was gone, the artist was gone, my bride, her mother, would go in and empty the room into trash bags. And they would go missing while the daughter was gone to school. She comes home to this beautiful, clean room. She was not grateful. She was hot and angry that her mother would disrespect her stuff so much by throwing it away. Those treasures, those priceless works of art. Doesn't she know they were Picasso? Okay? So you can imagine this issue every day. This is an ongoing, forever ongoing. And I was at this conference I think it was in Indianapolis or Cincinnati, somewhere in the Midwest. And Dr. John Maxwell was up speaking, and he said a statement, and it changed my life. And this is a statement. We'll put it on the screen for you if you watch on YouTube. It says, your level of expectation determines your level of preparation. Your level of expectation determines your level of preparation. I don't know what he was talking about, but in that moment, I got set free. Oh, I was so fired up. I was ready to leave the conference immediately. I'd gotten set free. I suddenly understood the problem. And here was the problem. I realized that the reason that my daughter was not cleaning her room was because she had no expectation of a consequence if she didn't. In other words, she had very low expectations, so it determined the level of her preparation, which was none. And so I came home. I was fired up. I set the land speed limits getting home. I may have ran over 3 or 4 cars. I absolutely sped. I got home, and I was so fired up. I just came in. Yes, my daughter had a mess. My wife was unhappy about it. And I went up to my daughter, and she's in her bed, buried in her mess. It's measured in feet deep, and she's on her iPad. And I'm like, daughter. And, she couldn't even give me her direct eye contact. It was like she just scrolling around on the iPad and not even looking at me. And I finally used the parent voice. You know what the parent voice?
I do.
Malia. And she wouldn't give me direct eye contact. It was the, seriously, are you really for real interrupting me working on my iPad? I'm doing important things. And still moving her finger, And I said, listen, here's the deal. You need to clean your room 2 a day. By the time you go to school tomorrow, this room needs to be spotless. I'm not even mad. I didn't stare at mad. I'm not angered, no raised voice. I said, here's the deal. If you do not clean this room right now, I'm giving out some life-changing parenting advice right now. I said, if you don't clean this room out spotless right now, by the time tomorrow morning happens, I'm going to come here and I'm taking every single thing out of this room. Everything. If it's not nailed down, it's out. This means all of your stuff, your toys, all of your clothing. And for the next week at a minimum, I will issue your outfits. Me, who has no fashion sense, is going to issue your outfits. And I left the room. And she went back to on her iPad. And what she didn't understand in that moment was I had changed. And this was the start of a new expectation setting moment.
Yeah.
And the next morning, I'm cruising past her room, getting ready to go work. What do you think I saw?
A messy room.
It was still messy. Because she's like, shoot, Dad didn't even yell. Mom yells. And I was sad. I was mortified because I knew that my daughter was going to be very mortified when she got home and very angry. And I would have to deal with that. But I was also going to have to work hard to clean this thing up. And so I emptied the room. For real, I took it all out of the room. Everything, including your clothes. I took the clothes away. I took them off site. They were not accessible. She came home, and her room was spotless. And when I say spotless, she had blankets and a pillow. That's it. The drawer, empty. No craft supplies, nothing, gone.
Yeah.
And she was very furious. And I told her, look, I told you yesterday. Well, do you think I just said that just to say it? What she's really thinking is, well, every other time somebody said something around here, nothing happened. But in that moment, I changed her expectations. And for the next week, I issued her outfits. And I may have enhanced my lack of fashion sense. And she was, shall we say this Christianese-wise, she was ticked off. Okay? She was unhappy. She was displeased. But let me tell you, from that moment on, we had a new level of relationship. And when I heard her mother start to get offbeat on this, the room's getting dirty, I would go to her, hey, look, this room. You know the deal. And she would clean her room. And the fact is, me and my daughter, we could never clean at the level that Jen Sangle can clean. She just has another level. But it changed it. And I learned this principle to be true. Your level of expectation determines your level of preparation. And I want you to know a skill set here, that you can determine people's levels of expectation, and you don't even have to ask them, what is your level of expectation here? You know, when you go into a meeting and people show up unprepared, you know for a fact they had no expectation of that meeting. If they show up to a meeting where they should be taking notes and they don't have their phone out taking notes, or they don't have a pen and paper, you don't have to look at them and say, what is your expectation of this meeting? They've already told you with their actions or lack of action. If they show up, however, prepared, and they got a plan and they're writing stuff down and they're engaged in the conversation, you know that they have levels of expectation because they showed up prepared. So how does this apply to the person who wrote the question, who says we're constantly stuck, we make progress but then get set back, and we're set back all the way? I would say today is the day you change your expectations. So how does it apply to your money? Well, let's ask some really good questions. What's the first question they should ask?
Yes. So number one is, what are your real expectations for your financial journey?
Yeah. Like, what are your real expectations for your financial journey? Your for real ones. What are they? Do you really expect to prosper? Hey, don't give me the heck yes Napoleon Dynamite answer. Don't tell me that answer. I want to know what your real ones are. Because if you're telling me you really expect to prosper, yet you spend all your money, oh, I'm going to go off the rails, Megan. You're going to have to pull me back into the middle of the road here. But if you tell me that you really expect to prosper and you're not investing, come on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy it. If you really expect to have surplus, you'll save. Do you lean to a position of plenty, or are you more inclined towards scarcity? Do you constantly fear that you're going to run out of money? What would your spouse say? What would your closest friends say? Hey, let me ask you a question. Are your friends and family prospering? Because that helps define what your real expectations are for your financial journey. And if you're not doing those things, if you're not saving, you're not giving, you're not investing, you don't have a budget every month, you don't think about financial stuff, and you run away from the hard financial things, then you can't tell me you have real expectations. And you've answered everything I need to know about why you're not preparing, why you're not doing budgets, why you're not going to finance classes, why you're not sitting through this podcast, why you're hacked off right now and you feel like I'm jumping on your nerves. It's because I'm pressing into you because I want you to progress. And I'm trying to jump up your expectations, and you're like my daughter. I'm sitting here. I'm not saying I'm your parent. I'm just saying, hey, this is Joe and Megan trying to be your coach. And today's the day we're gonna ratchet up those expectations because you can win with your money. Okay? So what are your real expectations? Do you really believe you can win? Marinate in that for a second. And then, Megan, tell them the next question that we should ask.
Yep. All right. The next one is, what does your preparation reveal about your expectations?
Oh, so that's a better one, isn't it? That's an even better question. You know, what are your real expectations for your financial journey? Well, you can answer that question by looking at what you've been doing to prepare. What does your preparation say about your expectations? Because that is where the proof is in the pudding, so to speak, right? So let's rattle off some of these things. Yep. Read these off to them about their preparation so that I'm not just me being the bad guy. I want you to be the bad gal too.
All right. So if you truly expected to win with your money, you would be investing. If you truly wanted to maximize every dollar you received, you would prepare a budget.
Doesn't Megan deliver it so much more kindly?
That's why we're a good team.
See, this is why we switched it over to you.
If you believe there's truly more than enough, you would be a generous giver.
Ooh.
That's a tough one. If you had the expectation that you would be able to overcome a major financial obstacle like a car breakdown, a home repair, or illness, you would prioritize saving money.
Woo. So those can be outright mean, can't they?
Yeah.
You hear them, because I can get up there and I can preach and say, if you truly expected, play the organ. If you truly expected to win with your money, you would be investing. If you truly wanted to maximize every dollar you receive, you would prepare a budget. If you truly believed you lived in a world of more than enough, you would live generously and be a giver. And some people respond well to preaching.
Yeah.
And others respond well to teaching.
Yeah.
Hey, investing is how you fund those dreams in your life. And you can't win if you don't. Mm-hmm. You should prepare by doing that, right? I don't know what way works best for you, but rewind whichever section works well. The Megan version or the Joe version, the good cop, the good guy, the bad guy, the good gal. Whatever it is that works for you, hey, let's level up your expectations. The reason you keep getting set back to a place worse is that your preparation is dictating it, and your preparation is dictated by your expectations. And I found that the day that I leveled up my expectations, that I would stop living paycheck to paycheck, is the day I truly stopped living paycheck to paycheck. The day that I changed my expectations, that I could truly have surplus, more than enough, is the day I started moving towards surplus. It took a little while to get there financially, but it started with the mindset shift. And so as we exit this year, I want you to maybe even print this out. Can we have this done on a PDF so you can download it for free?
Sure.
Just this thing, I want it put together on a page. You can print it out. Your level of expectation determines your level of preparation. Let's just put that on a PDF, nice and pretty. Let people download it. And we'll give it to you for free because this quote changed my life. I think it'll do the same for you. And if you do it and you allow your expectations to determine your level of preparation, you're constantly increasing your expectations and challenging yourself to learn more, you are going to be able to stop being stuck. And just like I got out of the rut at the farm, look, I had a lot of mud over me and the truck, but we were free, baby, and we made progress.
Yeah.
The same will be for them.
And I think we're going into a season of a point where you can have these moments of not starting over, but like a refresh or a moment of realization where you're changing your mindset and you're changing how you do things and you're changing the way that you operate as a family or as a couple, and so it's a great time to be able to have these hard conversations and to really figure out where you are as a person, a couple, a family, whatever it is, before we go into 2022.
That's the season of
Yeah.
The resolution, the renewal, the refresh, right? The restart. And it's the time for new beginnings.
Yep.
So let's go. What's the verse for this week?
Yes, our verse is Proverbs 21:5, and it says, "The plans of a diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty."
Awesome. I love it. It's my financial life verse. The plans of the diligent. What can we say it another way? Hey, the prepared people with high expectations, they lead to profit. Let's tell everybody what we're talking about next week.
Yes, so next week we're
To start the year off,
Yes.
2022, if you can believe it. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yep. Oh, you can ring your bells for Happy New Year.
Okay, we'll do that as we go out.
Okay. Don't want to mess up the plant. So our next episode, we're going to talk about setting goals. So during and beyond COVID. So we've been enduring a lot. So maybe we can start to look maybe beyond.
Yeah, the hardest part about the 15 days to flatten the curve has been the 600 days part.
Yeah.
So, hey, if you like today's episodes, please help us get this podcast to other people who could benefit. You can do this by quickly rating our podcast, leaving a review. These ratings and reviews help us make our podcast better for our listeners. If you've implemented one of our tips, share it with us on one of our social media outlets, Facebook, YouTube, or you can email us at info@iwbnin.com. Hey, as we exit this, I would make sure on YouTube, click subscribe, click the little bell, notify you every single episode. We want to wish everybody a happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.